Hello, Harrison. Tokyo Red, thank you very much for joining me this my morning, your evening, I guess, or your
Yeah,
afternoon.
that's right.
Um, yeah, you're currently in Hawaii, right?
Yeah, this is a recent move for me, but yeah, I'm in Hawaii now, which is kind of weird to say, but yeah.
Cool. So we're going to talk about this later, but please introduce yourself a little bit so that people know who you are, where you're coming from, music-wise, and what you're doing.
I'll update my Zoom thing too, but yeah, my name's Harrison Hood, but I also started a music project recently called Tokyo Rat. It's all like synthwave, cyberpunk, retro feels. Musically, I was 4 years old when I started playing piano, and I started because my older sister played piano, so I just wanted to be like her. And then that ended up growing into, I remember wanting to play violin as a kid, and then my parents really didn't want that to be a thing as well. And then I started guitar and hated it. And
Hmm.
then I ended up playing drums throughout middle school and high school, but it was all like jazz and classical and stuff. But around that time in like middle school, I was really getting into like early days of like Skrillex and like Dead Mouse and like all that. Like dubstep was just making its way to America and Canada where I grew up. So that was becoming really popular, and I remember being really into that. So it kind of got me into the EDM stuff, and I was just into weird music. I was like never listening to pop music. I was literally listening to like Weird Al Yankovic and like funny comedy stuff because I was making comedy videos. So I was also making comedy music, and
Hmm.
then because I was into EDM and like I had some piano stuff, I started like getting some synths and stuff. I think my parents lent me their like they had an old keyboard, like it was a Yamaha from like the 80s. So maybe that's why I fell in love with 80s sounds because this keyboard had all these like built-in demo things, and they were like, just like those built-in
Hmm. Yeah,
sounds
there
from
you
the
can play
80s.
along
Like,
and stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, and had like the
Mm.
bossa nova beats and all that, and I was like, cool. So I started making music like that, and it very much was like 8-bit music, and I hated that at the start because everyone was like, I in my mind I was like trying to make like a real like EDM like banger like for the
Like
club or
Skrillex,
something.
like really
Yeah,
hardcore
yeah, yeah,
stuff.
exactly. And I just had no idea how to do it or what I was doing.
Hmm.
Um, so when people were like, "Oh yeah, this is like good. It sounds like it could be like
Hmm.
in a Nintendo game," I was like, "No, that's not what I tried to make."
Okay.
I'm like, "That's cool." And then I realized like maybe 2, 3 years ago, I got really into synthwave. Um, I think Drive and like Kavinsky like got me into it, which is like a similar story for a lot of people who like the genre now. But no shame. I really like that. I found it. And when I was showing my friends some newer stuff I was making, they were like, yeah, you should make this type of music. Like, this is really good. And just kind of transpired from that. Over the years, I'd been collecting synthesizers a lot. Maybe from like the age of 13, 14, I just started buying synths. And I was lucky enough to do so just by saving up money from like acting work that I was doing. So whenever I wasn't like auditioning or doing acting stuff, I was like at home making music or like stupid YouTube videos. So, and this is like before YouTube was like a monetized thing as well. So I was literally just making YouTube for fun
Hmm.
and doing like parody music videos. And man, I've just been like in that film music space, kind of like all over the place since I was a kid. So yeah, I ended up collecting synths, and then this Tokyo Rat thing was kind of born end of last year, actually probably a year to the day almost, because I took a trip to Japan
Hmm.
for the last 2 weeks of October last year, and that's when I wasn't even finished one track yet. I think I was like halfway done, or like maybe one demo track was like done, but it wasn't mixed. And that track was Diskette, which is on the album I just came out with. And that was like, oh, I really liked it. And I was like, okay, I want to make more stuff like this. Went to Japan for 2 weeks, was inspired by like obviously like all the neon, and I was like, this is synthwave. Like this is like the city of synthwave. So I was just there, and I was just like, it was a solo trip, so I had a couple friends there, but mostly like traveling around alone. And I think I was in like Shinjuku or something late one night and kind of roaming around, and then literally saw like, saw a rat, and I was like, oh, like Tokyo Rat would be like that's like a cool synthwave name. I was like, hopefully it's not like similar to like Dead Mouse or whatever. It's like a rat and a mouse thing, but I was like, you know what, that's okay. Like I think it works. And I Googled it and it wasn't taken, and I was like, how is this name not like taken?
And
So
you made a cool logo as well. It's also a nice visual representation. So a little bit like that mouse, but but still standing on your own.
I was born in the year of the rat.
Oh, perfect. I'm a dragon.
Cool. And then also 2020 is the year of the rat.
Oh, perfect.
So I was like, wow, all of this is aligning. And then I was like, I just need to like finish some music. So after I got back from that 2-week trip, it was like November, December. I was like in my room just making music every single day, sometimes for like 5-6 hours. I got together with one friend. His name's Ebrahim. And him and I would like, get some inspiration down. I'd usually like finish a track and he'd like teach me a bunch of stuff on like how to mix, because he knows how to like do that stuff. So shout out to Ebrahim for like helping me learn how to mix and stuff way better. And he helped me with a lot of the tracks on the album as well. But yeah, after that 2 months, I kind of had like 3 or 4 songs. And then January, February came and I was like, maybe had 2 or 3 more finished. And then I was just kind of like, I want to release an album. So I kind of threw together a few more tracks, and it's kind of how it happened. And then quarantine hit. I had no release date planned. And then when COVID-19 happened in I almost just said pandemic. The pandemic. Wow.
No, it's not a pandemic. Don't spout any conspiracy theories here.
It's not a pandemic. It's the actual pandemic that's happening. So I kind of was like, oh, like I have to pack up all my music gear. So, because I was moving back to Vancouver, Canada from LA. So I packed up my music stuff, but made sure to like bring my hard drive. So I kind of finished my mix and like some final pieces on my laptop. And I was like, this is a good time to just focus on that. So like I put together like the release date and just kind of like put together like the graphics and icons and stuff. I actually worked with this guy from Spain who was also like in a deep lockdown when I hired him to like make the music video and my artwork and everything. And he was awesome. So that was a really cool experience actually as well. Just being able to work remotely, like with people from all over the world and like inspo from all over the world. It was pretty cool.
Okay, so you basically made the best out of it for the time being. Yeah. Anyway, I have lots of questions now.
Yeah, I just talked a lot. So,
no, that's exactly what I wanted. You needed to introduce yourself, and I only know your music. So. My biggest gripe with Shinjuku is the one I like the most. It's that it's only 1 minute and 40 seconds. It's I think I told you a couple of times that, oh man. And the good stuff is I put it now 3 or 4 times in my radio show. So because it's so small, you can play it whenever. But it's kind of like it starts and then you want more. It's like a teaser a little bit. You throw something out and Anyway, this is the one thing. Maybe let's start. I've wrote a lot of things. First of all, you don't have to be ashamed to listen to the music you like, because I like pop music. I'm a little bit older, right? So I grew up with 80s pop music, and when you grow up with this stuff, you just even if you can see it that it's kind of silly and simple and whatever. You still love it. So don't be ashamed of it. Just stick with what you like. And from my experience, when you do the music you love and you're really into, it will touch people. even if it's really cheesy and stuff. But I'm after this talk, I'm gonna watch if I can see some of your old fun Weird Al Yankovic. I would like to see how this played out.
I have some of that stuff like on my I have another Spotify account. It's just my last name, Houdé Hood. So I upload some weird music on there. It's kind of a mixture of like electronic, future bass, synth, like pop, like the arrangements make no sense, but it's like that's kind of the stuff that I'm making when I'm not like, let's make synthwave.
Yeah, this is also okay. So in a way, you found another place where you can dump your stuff that it's kind of not Tokyo Rat style like.
Yeah,
Or
I've played around with music in a lot of different ways. I have a psychedelic rock band as well called Soft Drink.
okay.
Uh, we're like an indie. I would say we're more like indie pop, but we started inspired by psychedelic rock music. So we have some interesting stuff, and now we're kind of like infusing trap music, like rap and hip hop elements into our indie pop, like rock band. But it's just two of us. It's just me and my friend Britton. The band is called Soft Drink, and we are kind of remotely working on stuff now too. But yeah, I kind of have my like
Your
fingers in a
little
lot of
outlets where you
different
can because yeah, this would be my question. Sometimes it's a little bit or I can only relate it to my own experience. I like a lot of different music, but if I would make pop music, goth rock, industrial metal, and singer-songwriter all in one little package, nobody would get it, because people wanted a little bit pre-packaged, and this is this and this is that. So even if I hate it, and this is the question to you, it's kind of, you need to put a label on things these days, even if you don't like it. And I like music is this big wide open garden. There is no right or wrong. There's just what you like and what you don't like and what you mix. And it sounds like infusing trap music in in your rock music. It's kind of like, exactly, this is what music is all about. Mix it and don't be how you see, entrenched or have blinders on that. Okay, it needs to be only this, otherwise it's not that.
Yeah, totally. I think it does help to have like some framework. I'm from a film background. I think this is what like also helped me like actually just finish an album though as well, is like just knowing that there's a format that works to music, and like just understanding that it needs to be labeled for people to understand it or get behind it. From like there's like that marketing standpoint, I guess. I want to avoid saying marketing, but like it is to some degree of like, this is what everyone can understand. It's like synthwave is this, and like it has to meet that criteria, and then you can do whatever you want. So it's like same thing with like any genre, like pop music. It's like, or indie rock music, or if you're making like like dark wave or whatever it is. Like if you're making psychedelic rock music, it's like there's a formula that like works for the genre. So I kind of learned that by learning like, writing scripts. There's like a formula to every genre of movie, and like every movie is the same but different. And that's kind of the same with music. Like all music is the same but different, as long as you understand like musicality, what you're doing, and then like the genre you're creating, then you have free reign.
And the most important thing, and this is what I meant with have no shame, if you're behind it, I mean, there's certain music I would not listen to, here I'm from Germany, so there's Schlager music. This is kind of like what in America or the United States it would be like country or so, so kind of folk rock. It's, if you do it well, I wouldn't mind, but I would never search it. Look after it, I would never go after it, But
like
if
country music here, like I don't want to listen to country music ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the only genre that I don't listen to actually. But it's like I'll respect a good country song, and it's like if it's on, I'm like I'm not gonna like buy or something. Like I'll
Exactly, and also then for me, there's also a difference with if you I would never listen to country, but if I come across, I mean, now we're in COVID lockdown and whatever, but if you come about a fair and there's a band playing and we're doing a really good show, and I still get into it because it's music and it's good music and it's designed for people, to get moving and to be a little bit more broad, mainstream, and so I respect that. So, but I would never search it out and be like, oh yes, this is my country. So I have my
100%.
genres, for my radio show also, and this is what I like most. But there's a lot of fringe stuff, and you're actually more in my fringe area because usually it's dark wave, dark pop, and industrial and gothic rock. So. Synthwave is kind of, sometimes it fits, sometimes it doesn't. For me, that's the good thing. It's my show, so I can decide what I want to do and what not. And like I told you before, I just found out now that you are an influencer as well. So maybe we can talk about this later. How you decide, what you like and what not, and. Anyway, that's not the most important thing, because
Well, it's interesting like that you say that, because it's like, yeah, if my song slipped through and you liked it, like amazing. Like I feel like I don't know, I'm a pretty like happy-go-lucky person, and like I usually make very happy, upbeat like music, like without even wanting to per se, but it's just what happens. And so this album was like, I don't know, a lot darker, and I like. What I had to do that was literally create a fake narrative and think about that narrative while I was writing the album. When I was putting the album together, I was like, okay, like this is what's happening in the song. And, Ebram actually helped me with that a lot. Was like, we would just talk for 10 minutes. Like, what do we want this song to be? Like, what is it about? Even though it's instrumental, it's completely instrumental. So that was like a really interesting experience to be able to do that. And then it's like, oh, like that's in like deeper tones. And obviously we're doing that with like minor chords and minor, keys or whatever.
Scales
So
and
like, okay,
stuff.
yeah. So obviously that's like how you do it, but also it's like just talking about it and actually like having that feeling when you're writing like really helped as well.
This is
At least for me.
the intention. Sometimes it's you could use happy chords, but if I mean, for me it's also a lot of feeling. Music is something else. It's not just, of course, it's how you say, the things you put together, but it's also what you mean by it. It's like when you're doing a painting, you have colors, and you can make a happy painting. I mean, it's basically the ingredients are all the same. It's how you use them to, of course, there are scales more for that and more for this, but the intent for me it's important, and I like some darker music. I don't want to have blinders as well. And if I had some happy songs, but it's very seldom that I really get into this, and because it's usually kind of bubblegum pop or something.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, like on your radio show, like that's what it is. And as far as me as like an influencer, I don't know if this is like the conversation you're getting at a little bit, is like, how do I decide what I want to make? How do I decide what I want to share? And it's like really different depending on my mood and like depending what it is. Like, I don't know, like I like most music like you. So it's like, I love bubblegum pop. I love J-pop and I love K-pop music as well. And like, I love like cutesy female vocals. Like, I think it's like one of my favorite things in the world.
Baby metal.
Yeah, baby metal. Yeah, like I don't know, like I'd probably be into it. Like I haven't heard baby metal yet. Like
you haven't. It's actually a real metal group, Japanese singers, all girls, and
actually, maybe I do know this.
Yeah, you should. I mean, this is kind of it's kind of a weird mix, but they're actually quite famous.
I totally know these. I totally know baby metal. Yeah, there's stuff like this where I'm like, I can get into that. Why not? And then it's like, but I'm probably not going to share that like on my Instagram maybe. Like it just really depends like what it is. On my Instagram, like I share a lot of like lo-fi hip hop or like indie bedroom pop, just because that's what matches like underneath like a Instagram story, or like that's what matches like underneath like a lifestyle like video or something, or like underneath a YouTube video that I do like vlog. I used to like, I still make some lo-fi hip hop, but I love lo-fi hip hop, like, and jazz, like
Hmm.
jazz hop, I guess it's called, or like
Okay, I don't know.
chill hop.
Hmm.
I don't know. I was into like swing step for a while, which is like jazz dubstep, because I was into jazz music and dubstep. Like, yeah, there's all these subgenres that are amazing, and like there's people that like them. So it's just like, you like, as an influencer, how do I decide what I want to share? It's usually just like what my audience wants to hear, depending on different platform, which is why I've also started like different aliases, I guess, because it's
Hmm.
like, I don't think my audience, like my main audience under my name, is like there because I'm an actor. And
Hmm.
then like most of them probably don't want to hear my dark synthwave cyberpunk music.
Hmm.
Um, so I'll tell them about it for sure. Like I'll post about it and say, hey, like I'm doing this thing if you want to check it out. But I'm not gonna like force it on them by posting about it all the time. I just think it's unlikable. I'll lose followers.
Hmm.
So I just started a separate thing. Like I just
Hmm.
started a separate thing because there's all these people that don't want to see my acting stuff that are like, I love Tokyo Rat. Like, and I'm like, sick. Like, that's great. Like, I can be these two things, or I can manage these two things
Hmm.
separate.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I get it, because if you take it, we're all different kind of personas, and I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a worker, I'm a colleague, I'm a musician, I'm a friend, so I don't see a, how you say, a disparity or so in it. It's not fake. It's kind of, you kind of just um, how you say, enhance one type of your persona. That's you, but you just kind of take this thing and take this and underline it for this
yeah,
channel and this for that channel to kind of. So we are back to this categories where people put things, and it's easier for normal people, and if they want to get to know you, they will know, oh, you have this alias and this and this and this, and then we can kind of get the whole picture that you are more than one thing, and
yeah.
that's most of the people are, it's not, we're
Yeah.
not one dimensional
I think a
beings
good
who are
example
only.
is like Joji, who's from 88 Rising. It's like a popular rap group. They also have Joji's also originally was Pink Guy, which is like some really like explicit comedy like YouTube rap like thing and YouTuber. So it's like, oh, I didn't even know he was Pink Guy, but I knew he was a part of 88 Rising. But I didn't even know Pink Guy was like first. So it's like now I looked into it and I find out that they're the same people, and it's like, oh, like that's so cool. And like he,
Mhm.
he's obviously doing more than just the one thing. So it's like it's totally different too. I'm like, he has this other persona, and I'm like, I think there's a lot of artists that do that.
Hmm. Hmm. And I don't, what I wanted to say is, and this is not fake, because it's kind of, you have um, different things you have to do in your life, and you have to approach them differently. Like
Yeah,
with your children, you're different than with your wife and with your friends and stuff. And this is, and you're still you. That's the point. It's not like, oh, you have to be like this all the time. You are not. Depends on the situation, how you deal with it. So anyway, this is kind of just to wrap it up. I wanted to talk with you because I didn't actually know that you were an actor. So, I mean, at the moment, I guess it's quite complicated for you. And you moved to Hawaii. So this is kind of, I talked with a lot of musicians and also a filmmaker from Los Angeles, where it's the thing going on. I mean, maybe talk a little bit about your acting and maybe why you moved to Hawaii, if you want to. If
yeah,
I ask you something
sure.
you don't want to talk about, just don't do it.
For sure. I mean, I've been acting for a long time, like 12, like professionally, like 12 years, I guess now. I started in Vancouver where I grew up. I actually grew up on Vancouver Island, so I was always taking a ferry over to Vancouver City for auditions. But
That's cool, actually.
um, I did a lot of like kids shows and kids TV. I've done like one Netflix show called Some Assembly Required, and then I also did before that actually was a science show for kids called Finding Stuff Out, which I hosted, and I got to make music for. I got to make a theme song. I got to make a different song in every single episode, and it's for like it's for kids. It's like for like preschool to like grade 3 kind of thing. So it's like a science show for kids, and the music was super silly and fun, but it was such a good experience. And then that's also why it's like I got to separate like Tokyo Rat from like from like my name as well, because like I have all these like fans that are like 8 years old, and like I don't know if they're gonna be into like a dark neo Tokyo post-apocalyptic like 80s thing.
I got you. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, yeah, separating it is probably like a really good idea. And then it's like I don't have to be so like I don't have to censor myself as much through that as well, because I do sometimes. My audience has grown up now. Like I feel like they're more like 14 and up now. Like I'm not so young anymore, because that was 4 or 5 years ago now. So I feel like the audience is starting to grow up with me, and I don't have to censor myself as much. But there still is like a sense of like, okay, I got to be like a good role model to some degree. Or like I don't want to do like crazy stuff. I'm not like that kind of person anyway. So yeah, I definitely think about that. But then after my show, I moved to LA, got my like visa stuff, and like.
So you were in LA, so yeah, perfect. So kind of cookie cutter way of going somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So I went to LA after I finished my last show, Some Assembly, and then I had to do the whole immigration thing, which is just crazy. And then I just got my green card at the end of last year, so it took 2 years, maybe close to 3 actually. And then, yeah, politically, the climate there is like pretty shite.
Shite, that's English term, right?
Yeah, it's pretty shit.
It's yeah, Scheiße in German, if you want to say it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say the only German I know is Ich habe Sauerkraut in meinen Lederhosen.
Not bad. I have sauerkraut in my Lederhosen. How you say leather pants. Ah, sehr gut. Nicht
I had
schlecht.
German exchange students who taught me that in band class. So yeah, politically it's pretty shitty in LA, or in the US, I guess, in general. It wasn't so bad when I moved there. I moved there like the month. I guess it's been 4 years almost, because I moved there the month that Mr. Trump got elected.
Yeah, it was a big surprise for. I never have seen it coming. But anyway, I didn't saw also the Brexit and stuff. But yeah, I mean, we don't have to go there if you don't want to. But
no, I will. Like, I'll gladly go there, because like if like I don't know, I just really like. Look, I think there's like extreme viewpoints of like, oh, you either like hate him or love him, and I'm really like, I don't know, I just like really think he's an idiot at sometimes, and like. I just really don't stand for like most of the shit he does is like so crazy to me. It just boggles my mind, like how anyone can support that, like whether that's like politically your opinion or not. It's like, I don't know, there's stuff there that's just morally really, really wrong, which is the problem for me. Because I'm like, yeah, like, there's a lot of one issue like voters out there that are like, yeah, like we need to like tighten up immigration and like be careful with that and like build a wall. And it's like, okay, if that's your reasoning is like immigration policy, then sure, like vote, like sure, like you want to vote for him. But then you have all this other stuff that's coming into play that's just like so wrong, and just like how unprofessional he is as a human being. And that's where it's like there's no question about it. Like you just can't vote for that guy. You can't vote for a guy who literally doesn't care about the country, and he only cares about himself.
Yeah, and also, I mean, if you think about it, what he said, and the pussy crabbing, and I mean, he's such a disgusting person. He's an old sleazy grandpa and stuff. I mean, I don't know. He has no filter. In a way, this is good because you know exactly what he is. Like, this is a good thing, but
Like I'm a person who doesn't have a filter. So like I can like I think that's hilarious. Like I don't know, as a comedian and stuff, I just don't have a filter, and I'll say like really dumb stuff sometimes. And like it is what it is. It's not that I always mean that though. But as a politician, like that's something else. Like that's a different level of like you just can't. Like you can't do that. And he does, and it's just so inappropriate. Like I think that's why it's like so wrong. I'm like, if he was just Donald Trump and was like doing his reality show stuff, like yeah, say all that stuff. It's hilarious, and like people will still like follow you or whatever. But like as soon as you're like talking about like you're running a country, you're running one of the biggest countries in the world, and you're dealing with like people's lives now because there's a pandemic going on, like, and you're making people's lives like miserable or like, and you're like a racist and you're like literally taking away women's rights to like be able to abort a baby or whatever. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll get real heated about it.
Yeah, no,
but,
no, no. That's fine. I mean, and you should. And I mean, you're
yeah.
living where. For me, it's kind of far away. Of course, the world today is so interwoven. It's not that it will affect Germany as well or the European Union and stuff. So it's even if it's far away, it's also connecting to us. We are not islands anymore. We are all in this together. So.
I mean, I'm Canadian, so I can't vote in the U.S. election coming up. But I have friends who are American, and I'll definitely let them know what I think.
I think we might know already.
Yeah, exactly. Especially like the younger people. It's just really difficult. I mean, most of the people I meet, even if they are like voting for Trump, it's just really hard because I find like some of them are just like okay people. Like they're just normal people, and they just like they've just been fed the wrong news, or they're just voting conservative because their parents vote conservative, or they're voting like based on one issue. Like I said, like they're like, yeah, my business is flourishing because of Trump, and like he gave us a tax break, and it's like that's why they're going to vote for him. It's like, well, yes, okay, like if that's what you're going to vote for, it's like, how do you change those people's minds, and why would you want to like argue with somebody about it? I think there's just so much arguing about it that it's just tiring, like at this point.
Yeah, and one point, I talked with a lot of Americans already, and one of the first shows I did was with some political majors even, so who study this, and one big issue I see perceived from the outside, from Germany, is you have only black and white. You have only two choices, and that's also a big problem.
Canada has four. Like we have four choices in Canada. We have like the Liberal Party and Conservative Party. Like we have basically Democrats and Republicans, but then we also have like the in between, and we also have the Green Party, and we also have like the Quebec Party that wants to separate from Canada.
Yeah, I lived for 2 years in Montreal, so I'm close.
That's where I shot my kids show, so I spent a lot of time in Montreal.
Cool. Yeah, I really love Montreal. So I have a soft spot for Canada anyway. Montreal, I even thought about, becoming, moving, I mean, being there permanently, becoming a citizen. This was what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
But then I got a good job offer in Amsterdam, so I went there. But yeah, I mean, Canada is a great place. It's so different, I mean, across the border is United States, and you would think it's kind of the same, but it's no, it's
yeah. People confuse us as the same, but we're quite different.
Yeah.
We're the in between of some sorts. We're kind of a mixture of a lot of cultures, though, too. So, I mean, I grew up on the West Coast, so people don't even know I'm Canadian because I don't have an accent really. Until I say A, so Americans don't catch that I'm Canadian. But then, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think Vancouver is like one of the best cities I've ever lived in and been to. But also, I love Montreal. Like I would say that's my like second favorite place in Canada for sure.
Yeah, it's a great city, great people. It's just like, man, I'm so friendly. Anyway. I wanted to ask you why did you went to Hawaii? I mean, you have been to LA, and as an actor, kind of it makes sense to be in LA. Also, musicians, a lot of musicians I talk to are in LA. So,
yeah,
what made you to?
It's So
to
Vancouver's
Hawaii.
music scene doesn't hit, and then I
Mm.
wanted to get into directing and producing movies
Hmm.
more, which most of that business is coming up from LA, coming from Hollywood up to Vancouver because it's like a 2 hour flight.
Mm.
So I moved to LA to kind of focus on those career paths as well and continue my acting stuff and music stuff. I think there's more opportunity there for music and different like acting opportunities as well. But also like the weather there is beautiful. Like LA's a really cool spot. Like everyone's in LA. Like literally you can do anything you
Hmm.
want there as far as like creative arts go or like just any job in general. Like LA is the land of opportunity to some degree. It's also just super expensive and like dirty, but um, it's a really, really cool city and somewhere I always wanted to live. So I just kind of committed to it. And then with the pandemic and just like the cost of living and like not knowing like a lot of my friends were leaving LA, and then I kind of stayed there for like the first month, and I had signed a month-to-month lease. My friend was supposed to move down with me, who's like my co-writer, co-business partner, and really close friend. He's also an actor. He was supposed to move in with me, but then because of the pandemic, he couldn't. His visa was delayed. He couldn't move. So I was like, okay, I like don't want to do this really, but I think it's the best time to just pack up my stuff, throw it in a storage, and just go back home for a bit and see what's gonna happen. Like at that time, nobody knew if it was gonna be 3 or 4 months or like a year or like
Hmm.
next week. That it was like, oh, like it's fine.
Mm. It
Like
was all up in the
so
air. Okay.
yeah, we were getting different news every day.
Hmm.
So as time went on, though, and then I had made that decision, I was glad I made the choice because things were obviously just getting worse. So I was like, okay, I got to just get out of here. So I flew back to Vancouver, and there was zero like people on my flight, zero people at the airport. It was super weird. Like the last thing I wanted to do was travel. I was actually really stressed out about it, but it seemed to be okay, and I had my mask and all that before they were even required on planes for some reason. Um, and then the reason I'm in Hawaii is so I spent my 5 months back in Vancouver with some friends and stuff. Um, and then because I have my green card in the States, they're
Hmm.
like, oh,
Ah,
like
you need to be there. You need to
I
be there.
have to
Otherwise,
return to the
ah,
States or I'm
I
going to
got
lose
it.
my green
I
card.
got it. Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, it expires. Yeah.
Or yeah, or
Mm,
they can take it away or whatever.
mm,
So I was like, well, shit, like I don't want to do that. Like I just worked, I mean, I spent money and 3 years on
mm,
lawyers and paperwork to
mm,
get this. So I was like, no way am I gonna risk losing it just because of this. So I was like, okay, where can I go where I'm not gonna get COVID and it's not super, super expensive and I can just hang out for 3 months and then figure out what I want to do next, like
mhm,
come January. So I was like, okay, like I was looking into it. I was really thinking about Portland because it's closer to Vancouver and I
mhm,
love Portland. Like
mhm,
love Portland. If like I wish Portland had like a bigger film industry like Vancouver or LA because I would
mhm,
like live there in a second. Like I love that city so much and the people there are super friendly and the food is amazing and yeah, Portland's one of the coolest cities in my opinion. But yeah, it was Portland or Hawaii, and Hawaii had less COVID cases and also warmer weather. So I was like, I've never been to Hawaii. I know zero people here, but it just kind of, I was like, why not? Like, what an adventure! I'll just go spend some time in Hawaii and escape COVID. They still have really low cases. I think they had 30 today, which is like, I think even less than Vancouver at this
mhm,
point, which makes sense because they're an island and they've been really strict about it. Like they have the 2 week quarantine. They're the only state with like a 2 week quarantine order, as far as I
mhm.
know, which is like bizarre to me because I'm like, all of Canada is doing that. I think if you enter from out of the country, so yeah, that's kind of why I chose Hawaii. So I'm chilling in Waikiki and
Cool.
making music and writing.
Hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, this would be my next because as an actor, yeah, the times are bad for your work. So I guess you don't do
Yeah.
much acting.
There was no reason to go back to LA. Let's put it that way. Vancouver, there were some auditions happening. LA, there was a couple auditions, but nothing like before COVID. Like I would get like sometimes 3 or 4 a week, and now I'm getting like maybe that a month, maybe.
Hmm.
September I had like nothing. So Yeah, there was no reason to go back to LA. And anytime I do get an audition,
Mm.
it's all at home. It's all on a self tape. I tape my audition myself on a camera and a tripod, and have someone read the lines with me. And that's just the way casting is doing it, because they don't want to bring a bunch of people into the room anyway right now. So it's kind of like, oh, this is an interesting opportunity where I have my suitcase with me. I don't have all my music gear. I don't have a lease somewhere. Like, I can just go anywhere and live and like not worry about it, and like I can still do my auditions from anywhere. So this is the time to do it. Like,
Hmm.
it's the time to come to Hawaii for 3 months.
Okay, yeah, and so okay, that's maybe an inappropriate, but you're still financially fine. So with the
Yeah.
work you still have or get, don't answer this if you don't want to. It's not my business, but yeah, because
Yeah, there
you
was
cannot really work. So it might be a little bit tougher.
yeah, there was that was part of my reason to move back to Vancouver, was financial stuff, so I could save some money, because I didn't have a job when that hit. Like, I was like, well, there's no jobs. So, and I'm in LA, and I had just started a part-time actually at a boba shop, because I love boba, but it was also just like extra cash to pay for groceries and stuff. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to be here bleeding money, and I'm on a month-to-month lease. So I'm like, why am I here? Why would I stay?
Hmm.
So like, let me go back to Vancouver, paid like, 1/5 of the rent that I was paying in LA, which is crazy, but I was splitting the rent. That's why. Um, so that, and it was Canadian dollar, which is cheaper than US dollar. So that helped. But then Canada was doing unemployment. So I did some unemployment with them, with the government, until I started working a little bit. I was like teaching some acting classes online. So that was like a little bit of extra cash. And then actually I got a job as of October. I'm like project managing something for
Hmm.
an anti-bully campaign. So I have a job for the next few months, and it's all remote, all online.
Okay,
And
okay.
and then I'm also teaching acting classes online now, which has been like kind of a blessing. Like, it's been kind of like, yeah, it's been good. I've got some extra work now. So yeah, I saved some money, and actually, like, it's weird because I like feel bad, like kind of like bragging about this, like during during this, because I know a lot of people like lost jobs and stuff, but like I
Hmm.
got more work out of it almost, and like ended up, I mean, I had like a couple $1,000s credit card debt because I had to move and stuff, and I got out of my credit card debt over the last 5 months. So yeah, it's been okay for me.
Okay, no, that's good. I mean,
I
I'm
never
happy that.
had credit card debt. Like, I've been pretty
Mm.
good financially because of the shows I worked on, and I invested in real estate as well. And then like, yeah, just as far as the financial thing goes, like, because I invested in real estate, I can not have a 9 to 5 and be able to do music and film and write all the time. So that's kind of where I'm at. So yeah.
And writing means for you, you're making your own scripts and stuff, or your own
Yeah.
shows, or what do you
Yeah. Yeah.
do
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, I've made some short films and been directing more. Obviously, the goal is like to do a feature film. So something I'm really passionate about right now. I'm almost on a third draft with, and I'm talking to my manager about it. It's like a coming of age comedy film about my hometown on Vancouver Island. So I'm almost done a third draft of that, and it's super funny. I mean, I'm writing it for myself to either direct or a play
Hmm.
me. It's about
Hmm.
my life growing up. So that'd be like, that's like my passion project right now. We'll see what happens.
Your Rocky movie.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, it's super funny. I think it's super funny anyway. It's definitely like the best piece of writing I've ever done. So I'm curious to see what happens with it. But also, I wrote a thriller feature screenplay as like a, not a spec, but kind of as like a test to like become a better writer with my co-writer.
Hmm.
And we might be selling that. And we wrote that 2 years ago. So that would be an interesting thing to happen as well. That'd be pretty exciting. So yeah, I've just been writing and becoming a better writer. And I'm doing improv classes on Zoom now, which is cool that I can continue with that. And also writing music. I'm actually working on a collaboration right now with another synthwave artist. Very early in the works though. But my next stuff that I want to make, I'm very inspired by like outrun music right now.
Okay. I don't know Outrun, so
Outrun is like a sub genre of synthwave, I guess, or yeah, I think it's a sub genre of synthwave. It's all based on like it's a certain aesthetic, just like synthwave is a certain
mhm.
aesthetic, I guess. It's like it's fast paced. It's just like outrun is basically like you're being chased, like you're in a car, like
Okay, okay,
it feels like that. It's very much like that. And there's also an old video game, I think it's Sega, 1986, called Outrun, and it's a Ferrari on the cover, and a lot of Outrun stuff kind of inspired like synthwave artists as well to some degree.
okay, okay. Anyway, but yeah, thank you. So you're doing well, and you can kind of um, yeah, you make actually for you the time is actually not too bad. You either write, you make music, or you do taped auditions stuff. So
Yeah,
not really okay. I mean, I'm happy to hear that. I wish
yeah,
everyone well. I'm also in a good position. I still have my job and I can work from home if I need to, but I
yeah.
rather
Your
go to
radio
the
show.
office. Yeah, I'm in the IT sector, so that's
Okay, cool.
it's anyway online a lot. Um,
Yeah.
so
I
I
mean, I
want.
hope anyone that like lost a job or is like struggling can like find a way to like not benefit off the pandemic, but like find a way to like make it work or find like they might find a better, easier or way to make more money than they were before.
Hmm. Yeah, I
And I
mean
hope,
that would be the best case, but sorry, I go ahead.
yeah, just like learn and adapt with the times, I guess, which is easy to say and harder to do. I understand, but I feel like I don't know. I'm a very ambitious person, so like no matter what happens, I'm gonna figure it out, make it work.
Hmm. No,
And I hope,
I think so. I was just talking the other day with a friend about it. Um, people only change if something most likely bad happens to them, because I mean, you always know, oh, you can get up earlier and you can learn a new language and you can learn a new skill and this and that. But, when there is, I mean, you're also part of this game, when there is Netflix and so many distractions and, Instagram and da 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 da, and, thousand things you can do with your time. And, that distract you from having a clear goal or going somewhere, and
so
yep.
that's interesting you say that. And like, yeah, I think it's easy to get distracted, even as an, especially as an artist, maybe, especially when you move to like LA. It's like I'd club a lot on the weekends, but I would always try to like meet people and like just like I don't know. There's like a whole networking game in LA, which can get really like stale really fast and can also just like waste your time to some degree, like chasing people down or whatever. So I never really got super into that, but I really enjoy. I'm just outgoing and I like meeting people, which is why
Hmm.
I'm like, yeah, I'm down to do your radio show and like talk for an hour.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. I'm very happy that you do.
But like what I found that really helped me at least, and hope maybe this will help somebody else who's listening, whatever your goal is or whatever like your dream career is or whatever, you need to find out like the three things or like find out a few things that you can do every single day that will help you like get closer to that. And if you're not doing those things, then you need to figure out like what those things are. And it's so simple. Like, oh, I want to be a chef. It's like, okay, what are you gonna do? You're gonna like first you should cook something every day. Second, you should like take a cooking lesson or try to learn one new thing about cooking every single day and maybe watch a cooking show or something. Like three things that you can definitely do every single day, no matter what, to work towards your goal. For me, if I want to like make a movie or act or make music, this is my like schedule every day in my phone. It's not a set. I'll see if I can share
Okay,
that.
yeah, I see it. Write, sketch, script, journal, create, show, shoot, watch, film, show, okay, watch. I
So
guess a lot of people would be on for the watch. I watch
yeah, watch
Netflix
is
for
easy.
research.
Yeah, but there's a difference between just like mindlessly watching and making sure you're
I know what you mean. It
mindfully.
was just
Yeah,
just a
exactly.
joke, just a joke. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, for me, that's fun, but I'm sure
Hmm.
everyone can find something fun for whatever it is they want to. Cooking, it's like, yeah, you can cook a meal. It's like, so that's fun too. Like, yeah, you get to eat. Like, cook a dessert. Then, if you want to
Hmm.
become a chef or a baker, it's like, okay, now you get to cook a dessert every single day, and like that's super fun. Like, most people don't do that, so it's like, do that. Like, I'm gonna watch a comedy thing, or I'm gonna watch a show at least once a day, and like learn from it or try to. But I keep it loose. Like, I mean, I say this to just keep myself like responsible for working towards the goal. I don't have to do so much. I don't have to finish a script every single day.
Hmm. I think
But
this
if
is
I
also
say write,
impossible.
it's like, okay, as long as I just write in my journal, as long as I write like one character description, or if I write like just a note about an idea that I had, or like I have a sketch idea, I'm gonna write that, or like, oh, I have an idea for that one scene in the movie I'm writing. I'm gonna go write that today. It's like as long as I just do one small thing, it's like
Hmm.
great. It's
Hmm.
just 365 days in the year, and then you've done that 365 times, and you have like 5 scripts at the end of the year, and 3 sketches and a journal filled out, and 20 more characters that you can use in other scripts. Like, and then as far as create something, it's like I can't make a movie every day, but it's like what can I do to do that? Like shoot one thing on my phone, even just to like try something, or like edit something, or send an email that will help me get to like create something.
Hmm. No, I
And then
completely.
I also play music in here too. So if
I see.
I can't do any of that, then it's like play some music, like just
Hmm.
play something or make a beat or whatever.
No, I get it because it's not. It doesn't really matter how good or bad the thing is you create. It's if you have it kind of constantly in your mind, when this is kind of, even if it takes the backside sometimes, sometimes you try to solve something and you're thinking and thinking and thinking and you don't find the solution. But if you keep it in your how you say subconsciousness, in your subconscious
Yeah.
level all the time, when there's, oh, then this, it happens to me sometimes because I'm also, I'm not writing scripts, but I'm
Mhm.
writing the lyrics for the songs I sing, and then and I had like I wanted to go to sleep and I couldn't sleep because I was like, okay, this I needed to get up and write it down, and now I leave some paper right next to my bedstand so that I can write it down right away if
Yeah.
things occurs, because the next day you usually forget things.
One thing I'm trying to add to this, I probably should actually add it in my thing, is read,
Hmm.
especially as a writer.
That's a
Uh,
good thing, yeah.
I bought an ebook reader for Christmas last year, and my goal is to read 5 books by the end of this year, and I have finished barely one. So
Hmm.
I haven't done that, but that's okay. I'll still work on
Yeah,
that.
I mean, there's still a room for improvement. So why should you
Yeah.
be different than all the other people? I like to read as well, and I kind of forgot it I mean, kind of forgot. It's wrong, but I didn't do it for a while because there's so many distractions out there. I like
Yeah.
to watch a lot of stuff on YouTube, and I realized that I have a Amazon here, what you call it, priority thing or something, where I can watch a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many movies there. And when I
Yeah.
kind of got stuck into this for a few weeks, like, and then I realized, oh man, this is really annoying. I don't read my books anymore because I like to read like different books. Sometimes I read at the moment 4 books, 4 different books, because sometimes I like more this and sometimes I like more that, and
Yeah.
more deeper stuff, more a little bit lighter things, and but yeah, it's good to read because you process things and you get new thoughts, and or you just entertain yourself. And for you as a writer, an
Yeah.
aspiring writer,
Exactly.
it's also important how to put things down, because it's not like I guess I've been an actor as well, and I
Mhm.
always admire people who can really write dialogue of authentic dialogue of people. This is for me the hardest thing to write. Just to write down a scene, okay, easy. This and this happens. This is on the table. Blah 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 blah. Easy, kind of. Don't want
Yeah.
to put you down here, but dialogue. Like. That's why Tarantino is so good, or so well regarded, because he writes dialogue like people really talk. And this is so hard to capture how people really interact in this thing, The
It's a
best.
whole it's a whole puzzle that comes together for movies. The writing is the instruction manual, I
Hmm.
like to say. The script is an instruction manual for everyone, so you have to be very clear and simple, but very clear for every department. Because then there's like, yeah, actors are going to make your dialogue natural as well if they're good actors.
Hmm.
If you give Quentin Tarantino script to a bunch of bad actors, it's going to be garbage. Like
Hmm. Yeah, that's true.
you
Also,
say
yeah, you
it
need.
doesn't matter what. Doesn't matter how good he is at writing dialogue. But it's also, yeah, there, of course, Quentin's an amazing writer. I love his movies. Like, so it's like, yeah, he has a talent as a writer and a director and an actor. He acts in his movies too. I just watched, I haven't watched all of Quentin's movies, but I've watched most now, I think. And I just watched Unusual Suspects. So.
Oh, and you mean The Usual Suspects?
Sorry, yeah, The Usual Suspects.
Is this a Quentin Tarantino movie?
It is.
No, I don't think so.
Check. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think you are, but because I really love this movie, and I don't think it's a Tarantino movie. But I could be wrong. The Usual Suspects, with Fenster, and it's Bryan Singer. I think Bryan Singer did this movie, right?
Oh, then what am I thinking of? The other
Reservoir Dogs, maybe.
One
of his first.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of then. Let me check, actually. Not Reservoir Dogs. Wow.
Sorry, I didn't want to embarrass you, but this is one of... I really like The Usual Suspects. It's a really cool movie.
What am I thinking of then?
The Hateful Eight?
No, not The Hateful Eight. I am thinking of Reservoir Dogs then. Reservoir Dogs? Maybe I just am thinking Usual Suspects was Quentin Tarantino for some reason.
I mean, it has some aesthetic of, it's here with the actor you cannot talk about anymore. What's his name? I really like him. Kevin Spacey. Yeah, this is just yesterday I was talking about him because I really like Kevin Spacey. There was this one with where he played this. What was it? American Love Story or no? What was the American Beauty?
I love American Beauty.
This was a really cool because I remembered, because somebody asked me what jobs I did in the past, and I kind of did a lot of different jobs, construction work and whatever. And I was even working at a McDonald's, and actually American Beauty brought me to this because he is he's working at this fast food joint where his wife comes with her lover and stuff, and he inspired me. Let's try also working at a McDonald's because I just want to see how it feels, because it's such a stupid kind of work where you have a lot of free time in your head, kind of like Albert Einstein. Some people think that he got to think about all his great ideas because he had such a boring job. So kind of, it's sometimes like you do exercises, you do something with your body and where you don't need to have a conscious, you go jogging, let's put it this way.
Yeah, a lot of people say their best ideas happen when they're driving because you're thinking about driving, but then you like zone out and that's when you have the most creative ideas.
Exactly, or under the shower or something, when you kind of keep your mind it wanders and then it takes off. And so for me, this is kind of an explanation why Albert Einstein, I mean, you need to be intelligent, of course, it's no question about that. But if you kind of occupy your mind with some mundane, very boring stuff, then your subconsciousness, and it can wander somewhere off. And anyway, and so... I like Kevin Spacey. I know it's very. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or something. He made mistakes, and that's for sure not right. What he did and stuff, but he's a great actor. Anyway, I don't need you. I don't want you to comment, or I don't want to trick you to say something or so. But
yeah, I mean, he
anyway.
is.
I'm coming. I was like, The Usual Suspects, Kevin Spacey, and that's why I came to Kevin Spacey. And American Beauty is just a great movie. I miss him a bit, but yeah. So
there's other great actors. I think that's what it is. Like he is a fantastic actor. There's other fantastic actors as well. So we'll just get to see some new ones.
Exactly. I mean, this is
good actors. I want good actors that are good people as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in a way, I mean, you are an actor as well. It's a good actor is also a multi-layered person. It's not only the good stuff and the fun stuff. And some actors, you like, you know. As I watched Breaking Bad, I didn't know much about Bryan Cranston before. That he did all this comedy show stuff,
I grew
Milton
up
in the
watching
middle or
Malcolm in the
something.
Middle.
Malcolm,
Yeah,
Malcolm in the middle.
I grew up watching that show, so Bryan Cranston was like that guy to me. But
Hmm.
then I put off watching Breaking Bad for a long time, and then when I finally did watch it, I was like, this is insane. And I, forgot about Malcolm in the Middle, obviously, but he's a
Hmm.
great actor. I also watched him in a film at a film festival. I wonder, is that the Vancouver Film Festival, maybe? Or was it at Cannes? I watched him in a film at a film festival, and it was a really interesting movie as well. He's just a versatile actor, I
Hmm.
think.
And this is the point I wanted to make. In order to be versatile, like I said before, you like different kind of music. You're also a different kind of person, and we also
Mhm.
have a darkness in us. I mean, it's kind of if you're growing more mature, you know that there's bad urges in you, and there is bad feelings. I personally got a lot of typecasted as a bad guy because I really can play a bad guy really well, and the sleazy,
Yeah.
not good. Looking and anyway womanizing stuff, and I really love it because I can go overboard because I'm usually not this person, but
Yeah.
there is a little seed in me. If circumstances are bad, I could be a bad person. And I can I'm able to do bad stuff. I don't want to do it, and I keep myself in check, of course. But it's a lie if we are only just good people all the time. We have to work on staying good people, and anyway, and as an actor, you can um, uh, legally explore these bad things. You can play a
Yeah.
killer, and you can play a bad guy, and you can beat up people, and
Yeah, that's
I
like
enjoy it.
one of my dream roles right now is like, yeah, I want to play some like psychopath
Hmm.
killer or whatever. I lived in like Gastown for 4 years, and there's like all these crazy, like, they have a lot of mental health problems and they're on drugs, like homeless population down there. So I like basically have done a character study for 4 years, and now I'm just waiting to be able to play that role.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
like there's these crazy people down there, and it's just really fascinating to me, like what drugs can do in combination with like a mental health problem. So I've actually wrote the script I wrote is actually about this girl who she's not addicted to drugs, but she's experiencing these hallucinations and doesn't know what's real and what's not. So
hmm,
she's having the blurred line of reality and fiction for her, and that's her struggle in the movie. So yeah, something about that is like really cool to me, and like being able to play a character like that or getting the opportunity one day too, like would be awesome. Like, and that's what is fun about being an actor. It's like, yeah, you get to do things that you never do in real life, like
exactly, and
and
you
say
can kind of.
say stuff that you never say. And the same as comedy. It's like you say stuff that you would never say in real life. Like
Hmm.
it's real life, but like you say stuff that you would never actually say. It's like that's what comedy is. And like people like I feel like are forgetting that in this day and age. But like
Exactly.
I,
You have to
I
push the
love
boundaries a little bit. This is exactly what you need to do with comedy. I mean, comedy is funny because you overstep certain things.
yeah.
You kind of
I want to see like I want to see comedy like on stage at a comedy show and laugh, and I don't want to see it in U.S. politics where it is right now.
mhm. Yeah, that's a good
Donald
point.
Trump is hilarious, but it's not funny when you're actually dealing with like consequences to it, right?
Hmm.
Like that's the
Where
thing.
you
It's
have
like,
your thumb on the nuclear trigger or something, when really
yeah, like go
bad
say
things can
that funny
happen.
stuff. Like go
Hmm.
say funny stuff on stage at a comedy show. Go say like those thoughts that you have that like you might actually believe or not, but like it doesn't matter. Like it's a joke. Like go say that on stage. Like, yeah, it's a pandemic. Like, yeah, fucking say that on stage. Don't say that like because it's not real. It's not true. Like,
Hmm. Yeah,
yeah,
that's true. I mean, like as much as I just talked about to be authentic and to enhance some maybe bad parts of yourself in in politics. As harder as it is, you need to be more subtle and more. I mean, you need to talk with bad people, with dictators and stuff, and still be kind of smiling at them, and they kill their own people or whatever. But
Yeah.
you need to be there's a certain level of professionalism you need to have to. This doesn't mean you say. You like them or something, and in a way, he talked with Kim Jong Un. That's cool in a way, but
Yeah.
he did it the wrong way somehow. I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't got it to. I don't know. He used it to brag about it that he was talking
But
with
he's like,
them.
oh, like me and Kim Jong Un are friends,
Yeah,
and then he's like,
besties.
but he won't say like, oh, like racism and white supremacy is wrong. Like that's crazy. Like,
Yeah,
dude, you got some issues going on there.
yeah. So yeah, and I don't know what to say to that. And I also on the other
It is.
on the other hand is what I think it's positive. I think I said it before. It's that he at least he's not he has wrong viewpoints, but he's honest about them. He's not lying. That's a good thing in a bad way. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
It's kind of
it's a
you
good
know what you
personality
get from
trait,
him.
and it's different from most politicians. Why there's a large portion of people who like him. Uh, doesn't mean he's right.
Exactly. It doesn't mean he's right, but at least you know where he stands and where he where he is. Because sometimes a big criticism here in Germany to some of the politicians is that we're talking about. They have lots of words and you don't know what they mean. It's kind of like it's just, huh? Okay, and does it mean you are for it or you're against it? Or because we dodge questions with a lot of jargon and talk,
Yeah.
Oh, actually, you give them a yes or no question and they talk for 5 minutes about something and you don't have an answer, So it's kind of, and in a way, this is a good thing on Trump that you get like, okay, he dodges the question with a racist and stuff, and the militia and the Proud Boys and all the things he's not talking about, and
Then he'll
good
be like,
people,
it's not
good
racist.
people.
Like, how dare you say that? Like, it's so crazy.
Yeah, or like there are bad people on either side. Yes, you can say this of everything, but still you can say racism is bad. And there might be some nice racists who are not that racist or whatever,
Yeah,
who
exactly.
knows, or who love their family, and that's fine. But racism is still not a good thing. And also the leftists, there's also violence is bad. It doesn't really matter if it's left or right
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
wherever
Yeah.
it comes
Yeah.
from. You can say that. Period.
The
There
most
is no.
I read something very interesting recently, which is like the whole foundation of America was built on like, people being like, I want to make the country the best, like vote for me kind of thing, and I'll run the country and it's for us. And then it became a two-party system where it's we're better than this group of people and we're better than that group of people and vote for us, not them. Instead of just like, hey, like here's a bunch of people, like this is best for everyone.
Exactly. That's a really good point. Yeah, it's so it's either black or white, and it's not, because even if one side wins, there is all like 40% at least of the other side, and you still need to. It's still your constituents. It's still your people. You still need to talk with them. You still need to care for them and make policies for them, because otherwise we're getting very unhappy, and it's not right, to kind of filter out these people, because you see what I'm getting to. It's kind of, even
Like
if you get,
immigration isn't a bad thing. Illegal immigration is a bad thing.
yeah,
Right? Like not legally immigrating to a country is bad. Like there, you don't know who that person is. They could have criminals or whatever. That's true. So it's like when Trump says stuff like that, it's like that's not false. Like, and that's why a lot of people vote for him there. But then it's like, well, yeah, I don't know. There's like, there's good points to either side. It's like people who don't understand the corporate tax thing. It's like, yeah, he paid $750 in taxes. We gotta chop off his head and like kill him. And it's like, no, like, he just used the tax law that's available to everybody. You aren't smart enough to do it.
Yeah, or you don't have enough lawyers and to find all these loopholes and stuff. Yeah,
You don't
this
even
is
need. I don't know. My dad's an accountant, so maybe that's why.
okay. Okay, so you
but
you're
like,
better,
but
but
like,
I mean, and this is also it's a good point. It's morally, it's most likely wrong what he does morally,
yeah.
but legally it's not illegal what he did.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure, I mean, that's why he doesn't want to show his tax returns or
One
what
thing,
the things he paid or not paid.
one
Um,
thing is interesting. Like, sorry, I'm cutting you off a little bit. Is like I'd say like 8 out of 10 things he says he's gonna do never actually happen. He's just
mhm,
all talk. Like he's tried to change immigration law so many times, and he's like, "I'm banning these people from coming. I'm banning these visas from happening," but it never passes the Senate or Congress or whatever it is. I don't know exactly how the U.S. political system works, but I do read these things that pop up, and it's like he tried to block them, and it doesn't happen. Like he tries to change the way this works, but it doesn't happen. But he says it, he's doing it. Like
ex-
that's the difference.
exactly. He's in the media and he's perceived as someone who's against it, but nothing ever happens. You
Yeah,
know. So this is kind of like a false advertising, you can say, because
super
um,
weird, man.
yeah, but he plays the media really well, so
Yeah,
he really knows what to do, and I don't like him, but I have to give him credit for that. And you see, we are talking now about him, and we are not liking him, and we don't want him to be reelected. But
no,
maybe through talking about it, it's for me, it's kind of he must have really good friends or stuff because people are still holding on to him, and there is something behind the scenes, what's going on, because otherwise he's not a smart person. He doesn't strike me as a smart person. He had a big inheritance from his father, so he didn't really work for it. He never earned really something. He, as far as we know, he lost a lot of money in his
yeah,
businesses. All his endeavors kind of never
yeah,
really got somewhere.
yeah.
But he's still bragging about the good ratings he gets because he's having now a Corona announcements and stuff. So what are people supposed to watch? I mean, this is important stuff. So you don't get a good rating because it's kind of life or death,
True.
So
It's also like he's literally like, I mean, he's just manipulated media in a way where it's like all of his supporters or the majority are like, everything's fake news. Like they're
mhm,
brainwashed, where it's like everything's fake if he's not saying it,
mhm. Yeah,
which
but
is scary.
but
Like that's
who
scary.
who checks him? I mean, this is
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, logically, yeah, like any sane person is going to be like, yeah, who checks him though? Like, how do we know he's right? And like go beyond that. But there's a large like population that's just like uneducated and like doesn't think that way and is just
mhm,
like what he says goes, like that's it. Like he's a genius and like he's making America great again and I have my job because of him. And it's like you realize like politics doesn't trickle down that far. Like
mhm.
he doesn't care. Like
Yes, he's a honestly he's a little enigma to me. I don't really know how to decipher him.
I think the whole world is like that. I mean,
Mm,
we also have to remember he didn't win the popular vote. Like most people didn't vote for him.
mhm. Yeah, that's a really strange system the Americans have. I mean, you're a Canadian as well, so I don't get it. He didn't
So,
win, but he won because the electoral college and all this stuff. It's a really weird system, and we are as Germans. That's the funny part. The Americans kind of gave us their system, but it seemed like we adopted it to something better, because
mm,
here it's kind of like. Um, Anyway, we don't need to get into there.
yeah, and that's the history, though, right? It's like
Yeah, this is yeah,
America's almost becoming what like they fought against.
yeah, and it's like you. I mean, of course, the German history. We had bad parts. Let's put it this way, and I really fought. I grew up in East Germany. I grew up in the Russian zone. So I grew up in a different system, in the communist system. All the Americans fear so much, and I tell you, that's something different than what's the Democrats or the
Republic.
Republicans. Who's what? Because sometimes I forget.
The Democrats are like liberal, the Republicans are conservative.
Yeah, and this is not socialism. Even if Bernie Sanders, what he talks about it has socialist ideas. But I grew up in the communist regime, and that's something completely different. So it's not becoming Russia with
100%.
yeah. Anyway, what did I wanted to say? I lost my track a little bit, but maybe let's get it back to music and to us. I mean, where we were talking and we've wrapped it up because we cannot really.
I love a good political chat. I don't talk a lot of politics online usually, but I don't mind it either. Like I just don't mind it. Like I think we talked about being good people and stuff, and I'm like, what makes at least what I feel like makes me a good person is like comedy and music and art and movies. And I'm like, at the end of the day, my opinion on, I'm always trying to be a good person. And I'm like, hey, do whatever you want in life. Like, this is like my kind of like saying, it's like, do whatever you want in life, as long as it doesn't negatively impact somebody else.
Exactly. No, that's the golden rule, basically, or was it the Goldilocks rule or something? And if you, certain things are, to say it in the American formula, self-evident. I mean, it's if you beat up your wife, that's not a good thing. I don't need anyone to tell me that. That's not good.
No reason
and
to do that.
exactly, if you cannot resolve conflict with words or with thoughts and kind of thing. I wanted to say something else before, because what I really like in the United States is the freedom of speech. And even in Germany, we are a little bit more forced to be very careful with our speech. And for me, it's always the intent of things, I don't need swear words or bad words or N words to hurt someone. If I really want to hurt someone, I can do that with normal words that are not on a list or somewhere. For me, it's the intention of things. And talking about Tarantino, he uses the N word quite a lot, and he's certainly not a racist. So, you get it, that's kind of like sometimes rules are really not. I mean,
people have forgotten about intention.
Yeah. So, and
actions over words.
Exactly, actions speak louder than words, and that's always the case. And Trump, what he did with all his, with Stormy Daniels and stuff, he's just an idiot who's I don't get. Oh, sorry, we're back to politics. I wanted to steer to something else, but he's so hard to get around, and for him it's like a publicity stunt going on for far too long.
At least I'd say 99% of the world and 50% plus of Americans can all agree that he shouldn't be running the country.
Yeah,
he might be a good guy. I don't know him.
He would be he's a good entertainer, but he's in the wrong position. Let's put it this way, he for his show, you got fired or whatever. He was great.
Sure, hanging out with him, hilarious. I'm sure that's why people around him are still around him, because he's hilarious.
No, it's a good point.
Hilarious president. I don't want a hilarious person running the country.
Exactly. We want a sane-minded, very thorough thinking person to go through this, because it's not like, running a country is not like steering a race car like this and that. It's you have a big ship, and if you change things, you have to go slowly, and you have to kind of you're not an island. You have to see how other people react. Like he's now humiliating China and other countries, and why? For what? And you can say, here I'm back to the politician talk, which I hated in the beginning, but you can say subtle nuances and say what you mean without kind of embarrassing or letting other people or countries lose their face, because when we need to react as well, we have this Turkey problem, and Turkey is actually a weak country at the moment, but I would not kick them when we're down, because then we kind of get even more ego and rail around Erdogan. I don't know if you anyway with a more European issue. So yeah, it's easy to hate on Trump, and he's just the wrong person in the wrong position at the moment. He might
Yeah.
not be such a bad person. You're right. And he has lots of fans, and he has entertainment value, like you can certainly
There's
say
so
as a
much like
as a
comedy gold out of it, or like whatever.
exactly.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he should not running this country.
No,
Period.
no. I mean, I think if anything, like my dream right now is like, hey, like this whole COVID thing has brought the world like together more, even though like I don't know, we've all taken a step back. At least this is how I feel in America and Canada, like and US. It's like we've all had to take a step back and like realize what's important, which like
Hmm.
isn't maybe capitalism, but also just like, okay, like how like why aren't we like doing things like we should be like making things easier like with technology? Like we could have been doing that 10 years ago. Like now all of a sudden I can go do my car insurance online. It's like why weren't we doing that 10 years ago? Like some places were doing it 10 years ago.
Hmm.
So it's like there's definitely like advancement, even though we've all because we've had to all take a step back. It's like, hey, like this is time for like change. Like this is time for like a big worldview shift of like how we can make things easier and better, and like how art like can become better and shared easier, and like there's new art forms and experimentation coming out of it, and like I think there's like there's going to be a lot of good things. It's just right now we're in it.
Hmm. Yeah,
We're
yeah,
in that
no.
like slump right now, politically, like politically in the world, and just like in general, like I think the whole world is like feeling it to some degree of like a big shift in like a lot of different things. Like I think there's a lot of I don't know if they're like second world or third world countries that are like on the brink of like first world, or like on the brink of like making real changes. So like that's
Hmm.
kind of like like a good thing as well. And I think the pandemic is helping, which
Yeah,
is
and
weird.
yeah, exactly. It showed, how vulnerable we are, even if you are thinking we are very prepared, and
Mhm.
how interwoven we are as well. When China doesn't send us medications and stuff, oh, we forgot how to produce it because we put everything out to China because it's so much cheaper there, or to India and stuff, and now we realize, okay. In Europe, the only country who still knows how to do penicillin and antibiotics is Switzerland, because we are kind of an island, So the rest is, I mean, the knowledge is maybe still here, but nobody produces it anymore because it's so much cheaper to getting it from China or India and stuff. So why would you do it here? Because we're looking for cutting costs and stuff. So and now we realize, okay, but what if something happens like a pandemic, and we cannot, and China needs all the stuff themselves. So okay, what do we do now? And people finally realize this, and so there should be always a little. And I'm not saying this from a nationalistic point of view. It's just, kind of how you say, a realistic point of view. Things can break down, bridges can break, ships can sink, and there can be a war, a kind of a preventing of tankers coming in from China and something. So what if something like this happens? So produce things also here locally, and also
Yeah, I mean,
the carbon footprint. This is the next thing, climate change and stuff. You keep the carbon footprint low if you do it here in your own neighborhood. You can control the quality. You can control the roads it goes to, or the ways it gets delivered and stuff. So there's also a lot of benefit to it.
and I've seen that more with like especially yeah with the pandemic, like people buying local or supporting local stuff more, which I think is great for any economy, like anywhere. Like especially I feel like that's what like in some weird way, like the whole make America great again, like we're gonna buy America and like stop producing everything in China. It's like, yeah, it's like a fair point. Like you probably shouldn't make everything in China, but they're just like cheaper. It's like I don't mind buying stuff from China still, but it's like I've never had the mindset of like like, I don't know, I guess I've always had the mindset from a young age of like, I don't know where it came from, maybe my parents, where it's like, yeah, we should buy local, or like we should buy stuff made in Canada, or really we
Hmm.
should buy stuff made in America because there isn't a lot of it. And it's like, you know, we're supporting somebody's business that isn't like some multi-billion dollar in some other country where it won't go back into our system and pay for our roads and schools
Hmm.
and education and stuff, right?
Mm, exactly, exactly. It's so simple actually, and this
Mm.
doesn't mean to bash on China or something. And
Oh,
I would, yeah, I mean,
dude,
it's
China's great. Keep making my iPhones, please. Like, don't stop that. You
exactly.
know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
that won't happen here ever. And like most things won't happen ever in our countries just because there's not enough people that want those jobs and we're not fast and efficient enough. Like
Hmm.
our factories. I watched that documentary, The American Factory. Really
Hmm.
interesting. And they compare, you know, they bring in a bunch of workers from China and show them their assembly line and how they're doing it. And they visit China and stuff. And like, I think it's an automaker or something or a glass maker. And they're literally like, they can't keep up. They just don't have the mindset or moral or like anything like China does to like, you know, they can produce 1,000 and in the same time that America does 100. Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
so it's just from that standpoint, it's like, yeah, China's just gonna beat us there. And like that's fine.
Hmm. And I'm also not so worried because the Chinese, I've been only once to China so far, but we're becoming economically more independent, and we're becoming
Yeah.
richer and stuff. So it will shift back to kind of we will become more. We know what we are worth, so we ask for higher wages. So kind of will tearing out a little bit. Like we will get back in balance. Basically, we will not wanna be the cheap guys all the time. We're gonna see, okay, I mean, I'm working on this and that, and yeah. Anyway, so I'm not afraid of this. There's always shifting back and forth,
Yeah.
and people will start companies here, also in the United States or in Europe, and things. So, there will be a healthy competition going on. So I'm not afraid of this, and the Chinese will also demand more money for their work because they know what they are worth, and I mean, you said about iPhone, it's kind of it costs like, I don't know, I don't want to, let's say $30, and we sell it for 700 or something.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's the markup. It's remarkable. So, but as
Yeah.
long as people pay for it, why not? I mean, it's a free market. It's a free system. If people pay for that,
That's what's
why
hard. It's
not?
like you don't need the new iPhone every year either, right?
Exactly. I don't have it with me.
They just have
I have a
massive
phone
marketing.
for which I have now for almost 8 years, and it still works. So I still keep it until it will break down. I'm for my work, of course, I have a much newer phone, and with all the bells and whistles and stuff. But I don't need one each year. Anyway, different topic. I want to bring it home a little
Yeah.
bit, because one question I haven't asked you yet is, so with Tokyo Red, going back to what we were talking about, um, Tokyo Red, do you have any plans after this pandemic, or to present this music live? Because making
Oh,
music is one thing, but making it in front of a real audience. I'm
yeah.
talking about not live streaming and stuff, but a
Yeah. Yeah.
real
Yeah.
audience.
Live
Is there plans for that?
show. There is loose plans. There's a big desire. I love live music.
Hmm.
Like it's probably one of the main things that I miss right now in life is just being able to go to concerts or live music on the weekends or
Hmm.
just go see a concert and stuff like that. So yeah, I would love to play it live. All my synths are in storage, like I said. So whenever the time is right, like I want to break those out and start working on a live set and work
Hmm.
on a live show. I've always thought about that from day one, and that's something I
Okay.
actually considered when I was making the album. Was I want to be able to play every song live. I want to be
Hmm.
able to play live everything that's on the album, other than like the software drums. But even that, like I play most of it live, like on the push or whatever.
Hmm.
So almost all the chords and synth lines that I play are playable live. A lot of it was analog. So yeah, I would love to be able to go play it live. It's just about adjusting it and figuring out the live show
Hmm.
setting. really want it to be good. Like, I really want to be able to play parts live, and I really want it to sound good. And I have zero experience with like setting that up, so I would need to find the right people. But my audience and fan base seems to be like growing for it, which is super, super exciting for me. Nothing that I've released in the past, music wise, has been doing this well. So I'm actually really, really excited about it, and hope that, you know, playing a live show whenever this pandemic is over, live shows are allowed again, maybe next year or something.
Yeah.
Then yeah, I would love to do that.
Realistically, I think, realistically is middle of next year, because even
That's
if you find
early.
a vaccine, yeah, exactly, you need to distribute it, you get it, it needs to be, and I don't want
Yeah.
to be the first one to get it, I don't want to be a guinea pig, so I'm,
Let's talk about that. It's like, yeah, the first people to get it, once it's like tested and approved, it's going to be healthcare workers and seniors. And then after that, there's going to be, you know, then they'll start giving it out to other essential workers. And after that, then maybe I'll get it. Like, I'll
exactly.
get
So
the Canadian one.
it will take a while, and that's fine with me. I mean, now I kind of,
Yeah.
in a way, I'm settled. At least I can say I'm settled into this. The numbers in Germany are rising again, so there might be another shutdown.
Yep.
But I'm prepared for it now. I mean, part of why we are
Where are you
talking.
in Germany? Did you say you're in Amsterdam?
I lived in Amsterdam for a year, but now I'm in Germany. I'm in Germany right
Oh,
now.
where are you?
In Jena. I don't think you know this city. it's 300 kilometers away from Berlin.
I was just
It's
gonna say, I really want to go to Berlin. Like,
yeah,
that's
it's
like,
Gena. If you want to look it up, just check Wikipedia. You will find it. It's a small industrial town.
cool.
Yeah, but for I'm a family man now. For having a family, it's really great. It's not. It's 100,000 people, so it's a small city.
Nice.
But we have two universities, so there's a lot of young
Oh, looks
people. There,
so beautiful.
thank you.
I
Yeah,
like
this is my
one of my
hometown.
favorite things. Like, I love architecture, and like some of the first pictures here are just like colorful buildings, and I love that. Like, I really want to go to Cape Town, South Africa, because they have like colorful buildings,
Oh
like
yeah, yeah,
that
I
one.
heard I heard about this. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that looks awesome. If I come to Berlin, I'll come visit you in Jena.
Please come. It's not far away. It's not far. The bad thing is, I mean, talking about German history, a lot of our inner city was bombed because we were, in the Second World War, we were very important for the war effort
Okay.
and stuff. We built optics and stuff. The first planetarium was built in Jena. It's
Oh,
where all these stuff happened. So there's quite a history to it. Luther has been here. I mean, Martin Luther, the right, and Karl Marx studied here. Um, so you have a lot of things. Nietzsche was not far off. Nietzsche, one of my favorite philosophers. He lived more in Weimar, which 25 kilometers away from Jena. So anyway, it's Napoleon came through here and kicked the Prussians' ass. So there's
it's full of
Europe
history.
is full of history, and I know saying this is wrong because also United States and America is full of history. We just didn't have it recorded. I mean,
Yeah.
there were all these tribes, and you're now in Hawaii. I always try to say it right, but they have also a big history in Waikiki, of course. I mean, that's kind of
Yeah.
how you say a dream spot to be there. So
Yeah.
I'm envy you a little bit. I love Germany, but we have cold, rainy weather. Now it's getting into winter here.
Like Vancouver, it's cold and rainy the whole time. Like,
Yeah, and I lived in
hey,
Montreal. I had bad,
Montreal is
really
really cold in
long
the winter.
winters there, so
Yeah.
I know how it is. But it's yeah, it's not the nicest. I mean, autumn is nice with the fall leaves. The leaves change, and there's a lot of color and stuff. But yeah, it's not the greatest.
Berlin is like up on my list, you know, like it's like maybe top three for me. So I'll
Yeah, so
probably
I
end up
mean,
there.
get your act together, get Tokyo Red, and
Yeah.
maybe you can even do a casting call in Berlin. There's a lot of shows produced there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Potsdam is nearby, the Babelsberg Studios, Babelsberg. I don't know how you would say it in
Yeah.
English. You might have heard them. We have some great shows also. Babylon Berlin. You might have heard. Maybe check it out. That's a show I haven't
That's
watched.
club that's like impossible to get into.
Exactly. There should be, you could be the, I don't know what.
Yeah, I think
And if
I
you
knew
get in there, get me in there. My dream role, just because you said it before, I always wanted to be there was this, these guys who made this, Iron Sky. Have you heard of Iron Sky? Where the Nazis are on the moon and stuff. It's a parody, over the top stuff. And I always wanted to be a really bad Nazi. I wanted to be, really, who gets killed in a horrible way. This is kind of my dream role. Like in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where this guy is punched by and then killed horrible off and stuff. This is kind of, I want to be a bad Nazi and be killed in a gruesome way, because I can speak German, of course, and with a heavy accent if I need to. Anyway, okay, so it's a really silly thing, but I really like it. Anyway, I thank you very much for your time. I think we could go on forever, but
Yeah, man,
I hear my family just woke up and I want to join them for breakfast. So
quick. I can't believe it's been an hour and a half. A quick hour and a half.
yeah, thank you. It was very entertaining. I mean, I can clearly see you're a pro. It's fun to talk with you. So. I wish you all the best. I guess we're gonna stay in touch anyway. When there's something new Tokyo Red wise, just let me know. And of course, if you come to Germany, you need to let me know, because when we can
will be
meet,
playing in Berlin 2022.
yeah, this would be great. And why shouldn't you? Berlin is the home of techno. I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
This is a big scene there. So. It would be, I would be very happy to meet you.
Europe tour and hit Berlin for sure.
Yeah, also, of course, France and Italy. And, Europe is small compared with the United States. So you can kind of get to everywhere easily. I had one American friend visited me, and he drove with his car through all the states in the United States. He was from Washington State. And I met him in Washington, D.C. And when he visited me, we rented a car because he wanted a Beamer. He wanted to drive on the Autobahn. You might want to do this too, with no speed limit and stuff. And when he tried to get through as many states or countries in one day, And I remember we drove through Luxembourg. And Luxembourg is a very small state, and we just kind of stopped there for a bit. And then he could say, yes, he could chuck it off, and he was in Luxembourg, And when we drove further to Belgium and France and all the things, it's very easy to go around in Europe.
Yeah, I went to, when I went to France, that was probably my biggest regret, was not realizing how easy that would have been. So I should have stayed longer. But now I know for next time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And my real hope is, after this pandemic, like we talked before, you will show your stuff live, and you will have shows that people will really cherish this and really appreciate the effort of people doing live music. You said, look, your local scene, support your local scene with buying local groceries and stuff. But you can do the same with, I will go to more shows. I'm pretty sure I will go whenever I remotely will like the music. I will go there because it's live and it's, it's something where, and people
100%.
Put some effort into it and stuff.
I think
So
people will appreciate it more.
exactly. I really hope it might, if there will be a spike, and then it will be go down a little bit, like everything. But I think, this. We are social beings, we need to gather and we need to be together. And I really can feel that I need this. I need to smell the sweat of the other person dancing next to me and stuff. And this is what human beings need
Yeah.
to congregate
You
somewhere.
got a
And
free ticket to my show when I come to Berlin.
thank you. That's what I wanted to hear. This was the reason why I wanted to talk with you.
Yeah, you're one of the first like radio shows that Take Your Rat's doing. So and you've been supporting my music early on here. So yeah,
Exactly. I'm
seriously,
an early adopter. So
it's going to be on the internet, so everyone can hold me accountable to it too. Like Tobias gets a free ticket to my show.
exactly. I'm gonna now. I'm really honestly. I'm really looking forward to it, and yeah, and you're okay. I don't want to bash on the Americans, but you know, I talked with some Americans, and sometimes it's like, oh, let's have dinner, you know, or let's have lunch sometime. You know what I'm talking about, and they tell you a lot of things, and like, yeah, you know, I know who's talking, and Germans are more like, if you say it, you mean it.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I'm like that for sure. So let's have lunch when I'm in Berlin. I'll actually, if I come to Berlin, I'll straight up come to your apartment. I wrote it down here.
Jena.
Jena.
Jena. You would say Jena, yeah. It's most people say it wrong, and it's like Vienna, and then we think it's Austria.
Jena.
Yeah, Jena, exactly, or Jena.
Jena.
And anyway,
but it looks beautiful. I would totally come visit. I'll come make
some. Come in summertime. Come in summertime. Maybe 2022 would be best, because then we should be behind all this, and yeah, and I can show you my city. Yeah, I really.
Get a vaccine. I mean, if I get the vaccine in Canada, then maybe I'll come sooner. Who knows?
Who knows? And I'm going to visit you in Canada, because I love Canada as well. Yeah, man, yeah, I can't wait until things opening up again. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. It was a great pleasure to talk with you. I wish you all the best for acting, and yeah, I will link to your accounts in the video. It should be on. I will make it a premiere. It should be on somewhere this Friday. I'll make it available, so you can tell all your fans and friends, and you know, maybe I get a few more subscribers through you. Because you're an influencer as well, so you know, I'm kind of a micro influencer, but I'm getting a little bit bigger, and I hate this term, but it's the way it is, you know. I mean, the good thing for me is I only promote things I really like, so it's I don't feel like I'm buyable or something. I'm kind of I'm talking about things.
I'm just doing what I want to do.
Exactly, and that's the best way to do it, because you're authentic, you're honest, and it's kind of you don't have to. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I think neither of us want to become a walking billboard.
Exactly. I hate. I mean,
that's what I fear. Like the term influencer, I fear because that's what that is to me. Whereas like, I'm just posting stuff I want to post and like to post. Like I haven't ever done a paid sponsorship.
I wouldn't mind that, you know. I mean, if there's a product I really like to use, then I would do it. But I would say it's
sure.
Exactly. But I would be honest and upfront about it, you know. And I would only do it for things I would. I mean, if you send me some shower gel, and like I would never use with fruity scents or stuff, and like, okay, no, that's not, you know, that's not my thing.
I was drinking chocolate milk. If this brand of chocolate milk want to give me free chocolate milk for life, and I'll do a video for them, 100%. Let's go. I love this chocolate milk. So.
I like chocolate milk as well. I'm a sweet guy as well. So I need to. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. I think we can go on forever, but I'm getting hungry, so now it's breakfast time here. So have a good evening. I will send you the link to the video once you know, it's up there. And yeah, thank you so much. It was really fun to talk with you. I really enjoyed it. So once once things are changed, let's reconnect and maybe have another talk when you know your I don't know, your tour, and you come to Europe and tour. Exactly. So thank you very much, and all the best.
You too. Thanks.